Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the meeting of the Lebanon Utility Service Board for Wednesday, December 6th, 2023. Let the record reflect that all board members are present tonight, less Aaron Smith, and that there was a working session prior. This meeting was also properly advertised. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we'll start tonight offering public comment. We will also do so again at the end of the meeting, and I believe our legal counsel has a comment that was, or statement provided by Mr. Smith for this evening.
Yeah, thank you. I thought I would take the shot at reading Aaron's or Mr. Smith's comment. It reads as follows. My name is Aaron Smith. I'm normally sitting at the front of the room as a member of the Lebanon Utility Service Board, but I'm absent today due to illness. I have asked that the following be read today as a public comment to the board. BFS has proposed an $82,000 lump sum service agreement for water source connection modeling. According to a verbal agreement that the city has with the IEDC has agreed to pay for the additional water infrastructure needed within the city limits that the city needs to deliver water from the new IEDC water sources to the LEAP district. The BFNS service agreement is part of what IEDC should pay for to meet its LEAP district water needs. I can see how we benefit from a planning standpoint if we pay up front for the service agreement, but we must recoup the $82,000 cost as part of the final formal agreement that replaces the verbal agreement that the city has with the IEDC. Aaron Smith.
Okay, thanks for reading that, Jeff, and Aaron for submitting that to us tonight. We'll move on to our first item, which is the approval of our minutes from our last meeting on November 22nd. Everyone had a chance to review those minutes, and if so, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
I make a motion we approve the minutes for November 22nd, 2023.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve the minutes from November 22nd, 2023 meeting. Any additional questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next item tonight is the approval of the 2024 Lebanon Utilities salaries and wages. It's an action item, and our CFO, Sandra Morgan, is here to address the board. Hey, Sandra.
Hey, good evening, everyone. So just a quick update. In 2018, the board approved what we call the new advancement program for all of the utility employees, which includes a step program based on your years of service. In 2023, we did reach out to IMPA to complete a full market analysis for all of our positions. And the way they do that is they go out and they look at the APPA national studies, they look at the, and let me back up, the national studies, it's actually by region, so they're not comparing us to, other utilities that aren't our particular size. So they look at number of employees, they look at location and other factors so that they're comparing to similar utilities our size. They also looked at the AWWA compensation survey, same. They looked at the Indiana Cities and Towns salaries and survey, salary.com and Indiana Gateway. So using the study that they provided, we worked closely with the Personnel Committee over the last month, and we did have two positions that we felt like needed market adjustments, and that was the customer service supervisor and a first-year lineman. And then we added a position for a senior engineering advisor. And then after much discussion, we decided to do an overall 5% to the employee advancement plan. So it is the recommendation of staff and the Personnel Committee to adjust those three positions, the market positions, and to apply a 5% increase to all other ranges and steps of the advancement program.
All right, thanks, Sandra. Questions, comments for Sandra on the salaries and wages?
I think the market data that we're getting is improving over time, but I think we're also cognizant of the fact that inflation's been fairly high here, and the competitive market in particular for several of our positions is pretty significant. So I think from the Personnel Committee standpoint, we felt this was more than fair for this year.
Thanks, Tim. Yeah, and thanks to the Personnel Committee and Sandra for working on this. Anything else for Tim or Sandra? Not, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve a 5% increase to the Lebanon Utility Employee Advancement Program as presented, and allow the general manager to work within the program throughout the year.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the 2024 Lebanon Utility Salary and Wages increase to the advancement program, 5%. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, looks like Sandra's staying put for a second for the finance software.
Yeah, wanted to talk with you guys a little bit tonight about replacing the accounting software that we have. So the current software has been in place since 2002. And we did get updates all the way up through 2015, but it was more like, your payroll updates. There was some updates to reporting. We do still get payroll tax updates, by the way, but that's the only updates we've gotten since 2015. So it's really not advanced, or it's not kept up with improving technologies. Because of that, our partner has not implemented this software with anyone over the past 8 years, and they're looking to get everyone moved off of the software. So with our current system, it's only accessible via workstations. We can't access it on our mobile apps, anything like that. We have to dial into Lebanon Utilities to access it. It's outdated. It utilizes 2 servers for IT to maintain. There's no document management system, no auto search systems. It has no approval systems, no employee portal. Right now, if our employees want to see a paycheck stub from 3 months ago, they have to call us and ask us, and we'll print those off for them. And it doesn't track our time off accruals. We track those on Excel spreadsheets. So when looking for new software, we want the ability to use it on multiple platforms. And that would include right now, like even our general manager, there would be dashboards built in where he could go in and look at stuff, where right now he kind of has to learn the system to be able to see anything in that software. We do want offsite cloud access, the ability to store documents with our transactions. An example for that is with our fixed asset system right now, we can't store any documents with that. With a new system, we would be able to store pictures of the asset, along with, if it's a vehicle, we could store copies of the purchasing documents right on the asset files. We'd like to have built-in workflow processes. Right now, when we do purchase orders, we have to print those out and hand deliver them to the different departments for people to sign those, or email them, they sign them, they scan them, they email them back to us. With the new system, that's all built in, where it'll automatically send emails out to the individuals that need to approve. The approval levels will be built into the system, and it'll be a lot easier that way. We're also looking for employee portal, which would include online check stubs, online insurance, PTO tracking, and a way for the employees to get their W-2s. And then most importantly for me is the multi-company integration, and it is really hard for us to find a software that will handle 4 companies. Most softwares are built for 1 company. So with that, in addition to it being 21 years old, we did learn that Microsoft will no longer be supporting the product after January of next year. We do still have our third-party company that assists us if anything big goes wrong. So we're not looking for anything to fail or anything to happen next year. We certainly won't get it implemented by the end of January, but Microsoft will stop that support. So because of that, we started our search for a new accounting system. We did reach out to 4 companies. One of them provided back an incomplete quote. It had more questions than numbers on it. That left us with 3 companies. One of the 3 we did not feel was very user-friendly, so we did rule that one out. And we ended up with 2 top companies, and that was Acumatica and then Tyler. The difference between the 2, I'll tell you, my payroll person really likes Tyler better. It does have a better employee portal. So when the employees log in, there's a lot more stuff the employees can see with the Tyler technology. Acumatica has an employee portal. It's not as grand as Tyler, but we're hoping over time it'll get better because the software is probably, I want to say 6 or 7 years old, and they are adding pieces yearly. The biggest issue we had with Tyler is that even though the employee portal was better, the multi-company function I was concerned about. And when I say that, Acumatica is a lot like what we have now. It will support the 4 different companies. We can log into the water, but it also integrates all of them together where if we have to pay a bill that's for all 4 utilities, we only have to write 1 check. And it creates what's called due to, due froms, between the companies so that we know at the end of the month how much money each company owes the other. And we can print out complete financials for each company. With Tyler, it is only 1 company, and what we would have to do is we would have to put in several thousand accounts and code them per company. So we would have to have a coding device to tell us what, like an O1 would mean electric. And then we would have to run specialized reports to pull those out so that we could prepare the financials separately. It seemed like a lot of work to me, so we all sat down and we did agree that we did think Acumatica would more fully meet our needs for a new software. When I look at the 2, and I'm going to apologize because I wrote this wrong in the paperwork that I sent you, but in looking at the 2, Acumatica over the next 5 years would save the company $47,000 on the high end and $69,000 on the low end. So I did change the budget to $96,000. We are recommending that the board approve $96,000 to purchase Acumatica, as well as $33,706 for the additional maintenance agreements, and we do have both of those budgeted. Any questions? Aaron had sent me a couple of questions. I got both of those, or I think there was 3 questions. I did get those answered for him. And they centered around who would be the support people, who would be the core group doing the training. And I think there was a 3rd question, but I don't remember the 3rd question. But the project lead would be myself, and probably Debbie Van Camp would be doing a lot of the work. The core group is the finance group. But we would also have training for Matt Hutton at Water Wastewater. He does purchase orders through the accounting system. Jonathan at Electric does purchase orders through the system also, and Seth does all of his inventory management and his purchase orders through the accounting system, so they would all be trained as well.
So once a new system is approved, what's your timeline for implementation?
Right now, we have not sat down and talked with them until we get this approved. I'm hopeful that it'll be approved in the first quarter because what I want to make sure I do is I want to get all the transactions for the whole year put in. And that way we don't have to use 2 systems for the year. So once we start this process, I would like to be through the training and conversion by the end of March. However, what I don't know right now is once we approve this, if we reach out to the software company, he told me that it would only take a couple of weeks for them to get us on the schedule. But now that we're closer to December, he might say, Sandra, we can't get you on the schedule until January 15th, so we might run into April, but my goal is March 31st.
March 31st.
Just chime in that our experience with NISC was that they didn't get us on the schedule for like a year. We tried to move something and a couple of weeks, and then they said, well, it's a year out. So hopefully you won't have that experience.
Right, and I talked to one of the partners specifically and said, hey, when am I going to get on this schedule? And he said, I'm going to get you on the schedule within a couple of weeks, and that was last month. But now that we're buttoned up to Christmas, I would say it could be 4 to 6 weeks to get us on the schedule.
All right, well, it sounds like it's a much-needed upgrade, and it'll have some nice savings and improvements for you guys, and that we're going to be able to implement it fairly quickly. So it sounds like you've done a lot of good testing, too. Any other questions for Sandra? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve Acumatica as the new financial system for Lebanon Utilities for a not-to-exceed amount of $96,000 for implementation, in addition to yearly hosting and maintenance payments estimated to be approximately $33,706 for the initial year.
Second?
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Bill to approve Acumatica as the new financial system for the Lebanon Utilities with a not-to-exceed amount of $96,000 for implementation, in addition to our yearly hosting and maintenance payment, approximately $33,706 for year one. Any additional questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thanks, Sandra.
All right, thank you, everyone.
All right, we'll jump to the next action item. It's the 2024 BF&S Master Service Agreement.
Yeah, I'm up.
Okay, I believe our general manager is going to address this.
Yes, good evening. I'm standing in for Ryan Ottinger, our water and wastewater manager. And before I get started, I wanted to shout out Ryan, because right now he's at the AWWA, or American Water Works Service Association, meeting, presenting on the Admiral Longley Storage Tank project, along with BF&S, our engineers, and Bowen Engineering on the project delivery. And it was a great project, came in under budget, and just the way we did it, working together with the board and the team, and value engineering of it. So they're to be commended. This isn't the last presentation they're doing. They're also going to a civil engineering conference. So kudos to Ryan. Now, this first item, the 2024 BF&S Master Service Agreement. A Master Service Agreement in general, they come up kind of this time of year for us. It's a general agreement we have with the contractor that we use a lot, or a vendor we use a lot, and it has things like rates, general terms and conditions. Things change from time to time. The lawyers go back and forth on, the latest legal thinking. And I would like to ask the board for a motion to approve the Master Service Agreement from Butler, Fairman, and Seifert, but make it subject to legal review, because they're still working on some minor points of the language.
One other note, if I may, the board was provided the updated 2024 rate schedule for inclusion with this agreement as well.
All right, thank you, Ed and Jeff. Any questions about this service agreement? And if we would, let's make the motion subject to final legal approval.
I make a motion to approve the master service agreement for Butler, Fairman, and Cipher, subject to legal review.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to approve the BF&S Master Service Agreement for 2024, subject to legal review. Any additional discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, looks like you got one more here, Ed, and that's the BF&S Engineering Service Agreements.
Yes, the engineering service agreements, they work together with the master service agreement. Some people might call them task orders, where you have that master service agreement, and the idea is to put the scope of work around something that's more easily budgeted, more easily tracked. As an example, we have the water source connection modeling on there for 82,000, which is the one that Commissioner Smith made the statement about through Jeff Jacob in the public comment. We need to approve the task order for that associated with the master service agreement. That doesn't say where the ultimate source of the money is coming from, or has nothing to do with IADC, but we do need to approve it so we have an agreement in place with BF&S to do the work. And we'd like to do it all as one motion, as it's listed out there on your sheet. All things to come up, except for the water source modeling, all of these are things that come up annually and need to be refreshed in our annual budgets for ongoing items.
All right, thank you, Ed. Questions, comments on this portion of the service agreements?
Do we want this subject to legal review as well?
These have all been approved, and they're good to go. Thank you for checking.
Okay.
All right, if there's nothing else, I'd entertain a motion.
I move to approve the following engineering service agreements with Butler, Fairman, and Seifert. On-call wastewater project management assistant, not to exceed $50,000. TAC and plan review assistant, not to exceed $40,000. On-call wastewater construction inspection, not to exceed $50,000. Lebanon City Standards update, not to exceed $25,000. Water source connection modeling, $82,000. Water wastewater systems GIS mapping updates, $188,900.
Second.
Motion made by Ann, seconded by Bill to approve the 2024 BFNS engineering service agreements as noted. Any additional questions or discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All righty, we will move to the approval of our claims, payrolls, and transfers dated December 6, 2023. Everyone had a chance to review those items, and if so, I would entertain a motion if there are no questions or comments.
I move to approve the claims payroll transfers dated December 6, 2023, in the amount of $623,605.37 for claims and payroll, and $157,160 for transfers.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Tim to approve the claims, payrolls, and transfers dated December 6, 2023. Any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll jump to any other business tonight from the board. Anyone from the board have any other business they'd like to bring up? Okay, we'll offer public comment again. I don't see anyone here. Ed, you aware of any public comment?
Just the one from Aaron Smith that we read earlier, and I just hope he gets better soon.
All right. Looks like we're scheduled to meet one final time in 2023 on December 20th, 5 p.m. So unless something changes, that's the date of our last meeting this year. Anyone have anything else before we adjourn? All right, I'd entertain a motion.
I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Motion made by Bill, seconded by Ann to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.